And we are live. Hold on. Oh man, the buttons don't even work yet. Damn it. Yeah, that sounds about right for me. First thing up, error. Let's try. There we go. It actually works. And I'm editing this on the fly because, you know, that's just me. All right, so press this. Yep, there we go. All right, everything is working fantastically well. That's an absolute lie, but, you know, fair enough. Hey, it's the turtles. Oh yeah, and we should start off the stream with a celebration and a very happy announcement to someone who I will not name because they have not said themselves, but they surprised a few of us and told us that they, you know, they shared some really amazing news, and I'm very happy for that person and them and the people involved in everything, and it is really wonderful. I wish them all the best. Turtles knows who I'm talking about. 10 a.m. bottle of prosciutto? Prosciutto. What is that? It's okay. I know it's much. I know it's a bit weird, but you have to prosciutto. I would imagine that's pronounced. No, we may not have it in Aussie land, but that could just also be me because I'm not presetto. Or prosetto. So potato, that sort of thing. All right. One of the things I've cheap champagne. Oh, okay. Yeah, we would generally just refer to it as hooch. Here. The thing I am doing today is just I keep meaning to play more of this, and I just don't because there's so much that I'm currently playing at the moment. So I now have to remember everything that I'm doing. Okay. We have to search for relics, and we need 2 lumber, 2 scrap. Okay. Cheap lumber, cheap scrap. Let's see what happens then. But I also know I have to just kind of like get fish. Or at least that, to my knowledge, is what I'm meant to be doing. Because, like, I'm not the dredge player at our place. Like, Qualified Wombat, she has played a lot of this. I think she's finished it on both Xbox and PC, and I bought it for her. The big special edition one that came out. I bought that for her on Switch when it came out. I think that was a Christmas present to my recollection. And yeah, she like absolutely loved it. But I don't think she's actually played it. So I'm just, I keep meaning to play more of it, and normally I'd be playing this with her so that she could actually, you know, tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I do a lot of things wrong. Let's sell all those fishies. So yeah, I'm just like, it's a chill sort of day today. You know, got some good news from the aforementioned friend, and it is very exciting, and I'm like very glad for them. Because like, and as so much stuff happens, everybody's. Did I just throw out that crab? I think I threw that crab out. Just piffed it way back into the ocean. Well, that was a fucking smart thing to do. I also don't know if these things... That was nice of me, just, yeah. Hey, crab, fuck you. Get back in the ocean. Get out of my pot. Yeah, like, just good news hearing from someone, and I'm like, you know what? Today just... Oh, no, I did actually take the crab. Look at that big boy. You know, after hearing that, I'm like, that is fantastic. I'm very happy, and it's just like, you know what? It's a chill sort of day. There's been some news and bits and pieces which, like, for so much of it, it's actually been less that I've oh yes, definitely, like turtles. It was great news to wake up to. I'm, you know, I'm very happy. Like, it's also just one of those really wonderful things. Like that sort of news just makes you go, like, I've had like, no word of a lie, I have an absolutely splitting headache, but I'm actually feeling like really good for the day. Like that little bit of news for the person involved is such a wonderful thing to hear, that I'm kind of like, I'm stoked. Like, you could not shit on my day. It has been a splitting headache. It has been busy as hell, but that just made my day. I love hearing news like that. I apologize for anyone else who may be watching this or dipping in or anything later and wondering what I'm talking about. It's their news to share. So as always, I like to just let people share the news when they're ready. So I just heard about it, and it's like, that is fucking awesome. So even with the splitting headache and everything else, I was just like, you know what? It's a chill day. There hasn't really been much gaming news. Luckily, one of the people in a Discord posts kind of news and bits and pieces that are coming up, and they said that the marathon, oh, I don't have the right equipment, damn it. The marathon PvE mode is actually coming mid-season, and it's like, that's really good to hear, because a few people I know who played marathon said that the PvE mode, while not exactly what they were wanting, they were... Oh, that's right, I meant to pay attention while I'm doing this. They said that while the PvE mode wasn't really their thing, they were like, it's a good mode. Like, it's starting to, like, a friend of theirs actually jumped into the demo element that they did. I think it was a free trial, and with that, they were like, oh, okay, this is, you know, like, the PvE stuff's a bit much, but I can at least kind of get started here. And they ended up buying the game, and they've played a little bit. They're still finding the PvP's a bit much, but they said that PvE mode was actually really fun because it was more explore. It places, like, if you're not familiar with Marathon, it is an extraction shooter, but it is very time restrictive in that I think in that PvE mode, it's like your entire run is 18 minutes or something to that degree. So it's like really high tension, just like push, go, go, go. You can't stick around and kind of like wait things out. You're under that time pressure to to move, to execute on what you're doing. So they found that like that time pressure, even in the PvE scenario, kind of as they described it, it felt a bit like playing Halo Reach and going for time, the time, what are they, the split times for some of the levels, and that it like really pushed them hard, and they were like, okay, this is actually kind of fun. Like, instead of it just being like, oh, slow and steady takes the race, there's still a sense of urgency. So they absolutely loved it, and the fact that they're actually bringing this into oh no, oh no, let's see. I know that when it gets to this sort of, can I actually park here for the night? That is the question. Can I can dock here. Oh, thank God. I have seen what happens at night. I am not walking into this blind. Just a little bit blind. I just don't toot at other boats, especially not at night. So with that time pressure, they're like, that really kind of pushed them to have a fun way to engage with the game, but on terms where it still added a sense of urgency, and trying to kind of bring their play level up to a point where it then starts to action itself, where you start going, okay, well, I've operated this well under stress. Maybe I could make that work for me in the PvP. So they've started playing, and it's kind of nice that they're listening to the audience to a degree. Just, they're not just pushing this out as, oh, well, you know, like, oh, but we know best. It's a multiplayer game. That's how it has to be. They're actively listening to their audience, and their audience is going like, we would really appreciate it if instead you just gave us an option to not always be sweaty sweats. And if that works for them, like, you, as much as it doesn't speak to me, I'm for the person, for the game. If a game wants to succeed, it should always be that there's options, there's ways forward for them. And being willing to kind of hear your customers go, I don't want to play it that way. Like, your gameplay or everything else like that is built around what I like to engage with, and what you've done in the past is important. If you can kind of take that on and make a small compromise that works, then you're kind of working to bring everything together to your players. Like, as much as, yes, there is artistic vision and so on and so forth, how you should play it, by the same token, sometimes you just got to kind of accept that, ooh, we got a 3-headed cod as opposed to the 2-headed cod we normally get. Oh, shit, that net doesn't have much in it. Okay. All right, so I think... Okay, I am going to have to work out. Okay, dry dock. Okay. Do you think live... from Turtles, do you think live services are going to be niche games? I feel like we're getting to the point where they'll all only have a max of 10k players at a time. I think if you can survive at that niche, at that smaller level, there's a lot of really great things that you can do that, by the same time, like, for how people look at things, like it's the survival though. Yeah, it's like the best example, and probably the one that I know the most about is The Division 2. I have spent fucking hours. I've spent so many fucking hours in The Division 2. And not because it's the best game, it's the game that fits me the best. That has a gameplay style and a world that, regardless of how good, bad, otherwise I'm feeling, I know that I can jump in there and just flitter away the time. There can be the things that you really push for, but The Division 2 is managed, even when it had a lot of pushback that occurred for... Oh, no, I can't get that. Even when there was a lot of pushback and players just abandoned it. Like, once they'd done the Warlords of New York expansion, Ubisoft had basically said, okay, we don't have any more support planned for this game. Like, that was going to be it. And they instead started running just seasons. So those seasons were really lackluster kind of efforts, but it continued story in a... Damn it. I'm having to pay attention to what I'm doing. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay. Let's get back. Let's take this slowly and just talk our way soft. Oh. Oh, no. Whoops. I damaged my boat. And no one's coming after me. No one is coming after me. Thank fucking God. Oh, that's right. The rocks. The rocks appear everywhere. Shit. Shit, 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 shit. Okay. We're getting back. And we're parking. I don't have any. I don't have anything. Needs repair. Okay. Well. One rod, 2 screws. Okay, shit. I don't even remember what I'm doing here. The Division 2 basically fell off. It had no support. They started doing seasons, and the 4 seasons that they'd done up to that point, season 5 through 9, I believe it was basically a repeat of the previous seasons with those rewards and just some adjustments and changes. During that period of time, player engagement it dropped away, but it didn't drop to a level where there was no engagement. It was actually reasonably healthy engagement. I don't know official numbers. It has only been what Massive have stated in streams and everything else, that they were seeing that they had a very passionate community who really enjoyed the game. So they, instead of trying to run away from it and go, oh, well, you know, doesn't really matter, just, okay, he's giving me a book. Let's sell that and sell that. So they took, oh, wait, someone did it. Talk to grieving father. He's Okay, we've got bronze belt buckle. Okay. Hurries away before the trader. Shit. Sorry, dude. Didn't mean to, you know, sell off your son's last possession to the trader. Um. Oh yeah, I've got no dogs behind me, so I've actually got dogless mode. So one of the elements for let's just put that down and put on the foghorn. One of the elements for what occurred was with the level of engagement they had, while it was, oh shit, okay, all right, sending the weather after me is not fair. I will just state that. So with this level of engagement, Ubisofts were kind of asking the question and going, is this game worth us spending more time on? And, oh, Jesus. Okay, well, I just fucked my hull up because of some, you know, space weather. So with the game, they looked at it and went, well, if we, you know, if we put some dev effort into it, we could actually, like, perhaps not suck at this minigame. We could continue to foster this community because building a community is fucking difficult. And if you've got a community there, like, to actually... Oh, shit. What the... Okay. They're now sending shit under the water at me. This is not fair. So instead of abandoning the community and just going, it's going to take too much dev time, dev effort to kind of support the game, Massive had just, I think, finished Avatar and were finalizing, I think it was Star Wars Outlaws. So they had part of their dev team who was already kind of set in their ways. Oh, damn it, I can't fit this anywhere. Oh, well, discard. Pulled it out of the water, got to throw it back in. So their efforts were that, okay, we've got some dev capacity, but they only had really kind of initial teams to be able to build out and concept. They didn't have staff at a quantity, I think, to be able to produce. So they ended up getting, I believe it was Ubisoft Budapest, to actually do the work for a lot of these elements, including Battle for Brooklyn. And Battle for Brooklyn, in its pre-order position, which the pre-orders only went live, I think everything went live I think it was just before the game actually came out. So we're gonna, like, I'm gonna leave the music on, but I am going to go to this. The title itself, hold on. Is that a good ambient music in the background? I might just pull it down a few steps. The title and Battle for Brooklyn as a small piece of DLC with just a little bit of a map, a couple of missions, some new elements for gameplay and everything else, that performed incredibly well. I believe it was like a $10 or $15 DLC. Oh no, sorry, it was $20, and it came with the season pass for that season and everything else. Um, I believe there was the smart cover skill came as one of the additional skills. It wasn't over the top, but what it did was, with the amount of engagement they got from the fans and people going, "Oh wow, this is fucking cool. This is great." They then saw that a lot of lapsed players returned very quickly, but were engaging with the game in the weeks and months leading up to the release, as opposed to just jumping in when the DLC launched. They wanted to build up, they wanted to gear up and go, "Oh, okay, well there's no extra higher level of content, or the games or the gear that we can get isn't going to be superseded by what's in this new DLC, so we can gear up, we can still play. Hey, it's still fun, there's still stuff I haven't done, there's seasons, there's activities, there's this, there's that." That then created a bedrock for them. When they announced Battle for Brooklyn, they were then able to go, okay, Battle for Brooklyn, it is, I think it's year, hold on, I think it was 2018, 2019. I think it's like year 9 of the original Division. I think it came out. Oh no, sorry. I think it's, this year was 10 years since it came out. So Battle for Brooklyn came out, and then they announced the Division 2 Survivors, which survival mode was something from the first game where it's a PvE slash PvP slash PvE combination mode where it's there's a winter storm, a big winter snowstorm coming through. You're stuck out in the environment. You have to keep yourself warm so you can't move away from like fiery barrels, or you have to collect gear which keeps you warm enough to be able to traverse through the city to escape. So it was a very popular mode, but the first Division game wasn't really supported for a great length of time, and those modes, while fun, didn't have anything more to branch them out. So they've announced that because of how many people came back and started playing the game and really getting into it, that they're building a bigger piece of DLC, and that I believe it's for next year, the next piece of similar to Battle for Brooklyn DLC will actually go into Central Park in the New York map, which was an area that was never explored in the first Division game. Ubisoft understand how to do live service, which is that it can be a niche, but you can create such a healthy niche. And another thing that does this beautifully is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Even to a degree, the original EverQuest games by Sony Online Entertainment have a similar thing, that they never had the numbers of WoW at its peak. But EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 stayed healthy and made profit for years, because while you might have a niche audience, if you create monetization elements which allow the players to feel engaged with the game, and use, instead of it just being a, we create skins so that you pay money into the game and that pays for people to make more skins to make more money in the game, you know, that kind of like back and forth. If you're then taking that and reinvesting into the content, so that you have seasonal content where it's, you know, game modes, elements, bits and pieces, but you've got new gear, new weapons, new skins, new items, new potential play mechanics in the season. You use that as your baseline on an ongoing basis, but you then create skin elements or extra XP events or things for people to engage with and come back, not always on a weekly basis. And this is the thing that tells the difference between people who understand live service and the people who want to milk it. If you want a live service game to be healthy, you cannot continue to push every single week. You have to be there. You have to engage with it. You have to grind out the seasonal content. The best way to manage it is to create peaks and troughs, because if you're trying to get everybody in on a level where they are engaging with your game 3-4 days a week, every week, that player is ultimately going to churn out, because there will be another game. And I think, I was about to say, I think everybody in the room can agree. It's the two of us, Turtles. I think everybody can agree when GTA 6 comes out, Fortnite, and potentially Minecraft, and Destiny, and Apex Legends, and Arc Raiders, and Battlefield, and every other game, even Roblox, is going to see a chunk of their audience, a noticeable chunk of their audience, disappear and potentially not engage with their game for a period of a week or two. Because, when was... Hold on. This is one of the beautiful things about playing on my Xbox. I can do this. So what I'm going to do is look up, there it is, Grand Theft Auto. So I own it on Xbox One. I don't, oh, I apparently own this Series X bundle. Who knew? I think bi-monthly large-scale raids are a good middle ground. Then you have to spend a couple of months getting ready for the raid, but you don't have the pressure of logging in every day. I agree with that, but it's always that, it's making sure that you have that capacity to be able to step away and engage with the game and play, but it has to be on your terms, and you have to be able to feel like you can spend time away from it. Oh yeah, I did a few of the online things back in the day. All right, so I've got 90 hours in GTA 5. Earned a decent bit of cash online playing with friends, but 90 hours, that's not a massive big chunk of time. Like that, I think, was the story all the way through, fucking around, doing all sorts of things, and then spending probably 30 of those hours in online. Because, like, yeah, in GTA Online, it was easy to make, millions of bucks. Time, 3 days. Okay, so I actually have longer. So let's work this out here with a nice little calculator. So 24 times 3 plus 3, 75 hours in GTA Online. Now, let's take that out of the 90 hours. I spent 15 hours in the story for GTA 5. Oh, yeah, and trust me, I absolutely agree. These are rookie numbers. I'm not a massive GTA fan. Play it like yeah, when's the last time I actually... 2015 was the last time I played it. There's actually probably videos of me playing it. Completed the final mission on the 28th of the 11th. Let's see when the first achievement was. 2014. November in 2014. And yeah, 14th, 28th. I played it for about a week, 2 weeks. That's... So if you consider, okay, if GTA 6 is the same as GTA 5, we're looking at 2 weeks. 2 weeks of game. Now, I think everyone out there is going to see those they're going to see those numbers. They're going to see that drop off. Sorry, as you can see, Coda is here. Coda, up. Coda, up on the chair. Coda, up. Go on. Of course, as soon as he has to be on camera, he's all precious about it. There you go, buddy. There you go, Piper. If it really came down to it, there's going to be a period of 2 weeks where all of those big games are going to have people away from it. Now, they could try and basically go, oh, mid-November, we've got a massive XP stacking event. You could finish out a season pass in a couple of hours grinding or whatever the case may be. But that won't work because people will go, yeah, but this is GTA 6. And they're going to play with it and they're going to engage with it. If you create a good live service game, understands that you need the peaks and troughs so that you can make sure that people are incentivized to come back at those particular times, but it allows them the slack to be able to step away, play something else. You will burn people out. Like I love me some Diablo 4 as much as the next man. If there even is a next man, I think like that one would be scary to look at my my hours spent, and I'm doing it in the background here. So let's have a look. So if we're to go, oh, okay, you have to always be engaged with the game. If you step away from it, you're losing out on opportunity. You're not able to do X, do Y, do Z. Like, okay, progress. Like, also, my time in Diablo 4 is probably okay. I know that I'm ranked 2 of 19 of my friends, but okay. Number 3 compared to me is Phil Spencer at 646 hours. I'm at 861 hours. And my friend with the amazing name, I'm just going to bring it up here because I love it. My good friend DJ Fart Blaster, that is the best fucking name out there. He's at 2,855 hours. Now, that is somebody who enjoys playing the game as a background game, as what they love to play. But I've also seen my friend play the game, push through an entire season worth of the content, like finish out the season pass, finish out all of the achievements and everything else, and then step away for the entire rest of the season. They're no longer there. It's done. They're not engaging anymore because they get burnt out on it. They go, there's nothing else to achieve. There's no benefit to me playing anymore. Now, they're a hardcore player. They just absolutely push through. But no one has the time that my friend has. We've got all of these other bits and pieces in life that we're having to deal with. There's kids and partners and work and all of this other stuff. But good live service games understands the flow, the back and the forth, up and down, to bring people in and go, okay, here's all of this cool, exciting stuff. And then, as they're reaching that crescendo, it'll drop away a bit. And if you create the space for people to be able to step away and play something else, you avoid having the burnout. Because as soon as people burn out in a live service game, you have lost them for the rest of the season. So if that is, say, week 6 into a 12-week season, okay, you've lost them for half that time. But they've bought a battle pass, they've engaged with it, and they're off again. So, like, that is that balance. You have to kind of work with it. However, what happens if they absolutely chew the content through and they dive out at week 2? You may have gotten the season, the season pass, the $15 for the season pass. You've got that. They've burned through all of that content. Then they're going, I don't really care. This isn't really interesting. So halfway through the season, at week 6, you've got a say Diablo 4 is probably a good example. Halfway through the season, you've got a drop of Overwatch skins, Overwatch cross Diablo 4. Now, those skins are only going to unlock at that point. That's at week 7. This person has cycled out at week 6. From Turtles, it's why I don't play them. You need to be single with no responsibility and also be on a great wage to be able to afford it. They're not sustainable for 90% of players. That is one of those aspects for live service games where the consistent engagement, the engagement that they want, and it's kind of the same element as you would think about mobile gaming, is how they look at live service gaming. You have people who flitter around, play the game, engage, play, that's it. You have the people who jump in every now and again, maybe every second season, third season, something has to grab their attention. You've got the people who jump in, play it, and then just straight out. Like, finish the story. I'm I'm good. I know the story now. I'm out. We're done. But then you also have the whales. And they're always referred to, you want whales, people who will spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars on just your game, inside that game, for the things that you're offering, season passes, skins, everything. They love it, they engage with it, and they love collecting it, and that's their jam. They love it. But whales are hard to create. You cannot create them. Whales come from passion for the game. And that is a very, very tough thing to do, specifically for that reason that Turtles brought up. You have to have the time to be able to dive into it, to engage with it, and to be driven by it, that you really want to play again and again and again. So for Division 2, they seem to have more players than would be described as a niche. Like, they're not that small and insular. It's got a healthy player base. Whales also can't be the majority of your income. You're basing your model on 10, 15 people. What if one of them is hit by a bus? Well, then you've got a bus being driven by 14 whales. No. That is one of those aspects of also the potential to burn a whale is a greater risk as you continue on, especially if your content does not keep up. Like, I wish Jez was here, because Jez or Genbox, because they're both like really big Diablo players. They also got burned quite heavily by this the first expansion, where they were like, "Oh man, this is crap. This is no good." I didn't like it, but I wasn't that vehemently against it. It'd be interesting to ask how they felt about their investment in the game during that period of time. But you can burn whales quite badly, and they potentially will not return. No matter what you do, no matter how good of an additional expansion pass that you do or a future expansion, once you've burnt them, that can just be money that you're like, well, we're never seeing another cent from that person ever again. It's also, I think, kind of diving into the earlier aspect about marathon and live service games is that for a lot of people, the reason Destiny 2 being kind of like, not in a sense sunset, but just no longer content supported, it is what it is and it's been left there, is because I stopped buying Destiny expansion passes when they continued to release expansion passes and then started vaulting the things that I already bought and owned. I didn't buy Destiny 2 at launch. I got it, I think, with Forsaken, which was the second or third expansion. The one where, like Cade 6 was, like, in a sense killed, but not really killed, or whatever the case is. That expansion brought me in. My friend DJ Fart Blaster was actually playing with me, but I hadn't played through the opening Red War, like the original Destiny 2. So before it took me into Forsaken, there was the ability to go play the Red War and the other expansions and then go through Forsaken. So I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I've got a idea of what's going on here. I don't. Still to this day, I don't have any fucking clue about what Destiny 2 actually did, nor Destiny 1. And the moment that I've listened to any of the My Name is Biff videos, I'm sure the guy's lovely, but he's got a great speaking voice, don't get me wrong. But the moment that he starts talking about, Crota from Beyond the Stars, it is like somebody took a pistol and just wiped me out. Just like one shot, I'm out. Because there is nothing going on up here, because I'm hearing words, but I don't understand how these things connect together. And the moment that I've said that to a Destiny fan, they're like, oh, well, it starts here. And you're just like, oh, please, God, no. Just no. It's probably how my partner looks at me when I start being like, oh, yeah, I saw this weird thing in kind of like gaming media today. And there's some days where we talk Xbox and video games, and oh, they announced this, and oh, they showed that, and blah blah blah. But there's some days where, in that aspect, you can just see it's like, oh no, this is going to be my entire day. I'm better at recognizing those moments now. But Destiny stopped being something that I bought into when, just after that expansion, I think it was one of the later ones. So I grabbed it because it was cheap. I think it was midway through the seasons for that, before the next one came out, and it was like $20, and I'm like, you know what, $20. I'll jump back in. It had the previous expansion passes, and Destiny had gone free to play at that point, so I'm like, $20, the content I've missed out on, there's a whole bunch of story. I'll go back and play that. Oh, actually, I'll start a brand new character and I'll go from that really cool Red War opening thing. Oh no, the cat's here. So I basically started from there and went, fantastic. Let's jump into Destiny, fresh eyes. Let's give it a proper shot. And I couldn't go back and play the original Destiny 2 campaign. And I'm like, okay, so where does it start me? OMG Turtles. Destiny was a social experience with friends that became a solo game. All comes back to expecting too much time from plays. I think that's it. I think it's, if, like, I don't want to assume. I imagine everybody at Bungie was working towards, you know, a kind of North Star. And they tried and they put a lot of effort in, but you are right that the big things that push Destiny, the things that always um cut through where even I saw them, were things like the Vault of Glass or the raids. People racing in raids where there was no explanation of how the mechanics worked, and it was people having to just fucking go in there and work it out. That's great. It's like playing a 6-man version of Stop Talking, or Stop Talking or Everyone Explodes. And that can be fantastic because you're creating the challenge of gunplay against tough enemies where you have to play smart and kind of like really push against one another. And uh sorry, the the friend I saw, he's online and big cheery happy face. I'm sorry, that's still fucking amazing. I love that for him. Um, the challenge of having Destiny raids was that you have the gunplay, you have a really tight balance between damage output and damage received, which meant that everybody had to really play tight. On top of that, working out puzzles live in the game where you've got 5 other potential fail points around you, that pushes people to really kind of like lock in. That creates an experience. It's the same as the old World of Warcraft raids. Like like BlackRock is just that's that's something that you've lived through. Icecrown Citadel is something that if you've been a part of a raid group and done that, whether it's a 10-man or a 25-man, I I don't raid discriminate. A raid is a raid. Even if I think it's now like a 5-person dungeon that you can do, I don't discriminate raid sizes. As many people as you want. It's kind of like an orgy. As long as you got kind of enough people that you agree it's what you're doing, then whatever. That's a bit off color. So with that, Destiny had something there. But to engage with it again and see that all of the content was just taken away, I don't agree with. And because it was harder for them to create content. From OMG Turtles, we should always compare gaming to orgies. Yeah, you know, as long as there's a clearly defined splash zone, I think everybody's okay to have some fun. The the live service element, trying to create content where everybody comes together in the 360 era. I think COD and probably Halo 3 are a good element of that, is that the games were very pick up and play. You could jump into a fire team with your friends, and if you wanted to be sweaty, you just like there was always that element of being able to play serious if you really wanted to go that route. Same with COD. But there was always just the random SWAT playlists for Halo 3, or just into like free for all gunfights or team deathmatch or anything else. Those were the methods of play. But because live service wants to have a way for everybody to engage, it creates a fracturing, I think, that I've started to notice, where if you're an extraction shooter, it always has to be PvPvE. There, you can create and foster communities. In a sense, Arc Raiders, I think, did it, where people are not trying to be pricks because they can always be pricks. people have actively pushed against that sort of behavior because they're looking at it going, well, I don't have a reason to be a prick. It's, we can have fun here. We can, like, okay, we're gonna work together and take this thing down, and we loot some stuff each and kind of go our separate ways. Or like, oh shit, I can hear, I'm over here, and letting somebody go merrily on their own way. Uh, those things are unintended side effects or unintended bonuses that occur in the live gameplay element, and that's what live service can be at its best. But you can't manufacture those moments, and unfortunately, too many live service games try to push that element in a very controlled tightening. So if you think about the first battle royale game, like PUBG, when it was the DayZ mod, and then built out into its own thing, that was about fucking kilometers of map, and having these very kind of quiet, tense moments of choosing to go into very, very tight quarters, a lot of potential for better loot, but also more potential to run into people. But what I've noticed, especially for those live service games, is that they're bringing everything in closer, or the time limit is reduced, because if people get knocked out first, the developers are worried about that person got knocked out. We want them to jump back in immediately. But if you know that it takes an hour for start of game to end of game, or 45 minutes, somebody will look at it and go, oh, it's 9 p.m. now. If I jump into another game, I'm potentially, if I get a chicken dinner here, I'm not finishing until 10. I've got to be up at 4 a.m. Fuck. Okay, I can't do another game tonight. And they log off. The drive is too focused, I feel, in trying to keep people in the potential of just one more game, just one more game. Just one more game works when you've got gameplay worked out and it's tightened itself naturally on someone. It's got you by the short and curlies in a way where you can't let it go. But if you're trying to change your game so that that decision becomes easier for someone because like, oh, it's only going to be 20 minutes. There's then not the potential for somebody to really flow and engage, to spend their time and really dive in and just let those things happen naturally, where they just, there's 20 minutes of silence because they're crawling their way through, because they can hear a lot of gunfire. They don't want anybody to see them. So they're waiting in the bushes to pick off someone. 15 minutes of gunfire back and forth. You see people fighting, and then they take him out. I'm sure I'm probably describing like a Rand moment from like a PUBG game, because he played so much of it that, you kind of wait, and then the stragglers are all picking up and looting stuff, and then you come out of the bushes and you're just like, tack, 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 done. And then taking their stuff and being like, hey, no one had a clue I was here. And then off you go with everybody's loot. Those moments can only happen when you don't have a force pushing on your back with such urgency. From OMG Turtles, they want the addiction and attention that mobile games and casinos have worked out. You need a game where you don't stop, but you also keep changing environments. It's pretty flashing colors. I would agree with that. Yeah, they need more pretty flashing colors. Yeah, I think that's a pretty close element, because it's also that cycle, that engagement. If I'm very reticent to ever say jump into Fortnite and check this out. But if you go into Fortnite and you look at especially how they have structured the changes to the map, the map has changed, I think, like 3 or 4 times, really massively over their seasons. The idea being that they're changing the environment so that people are kind of bought in by that idea. The quick cycle of content, um, there's the kind of key things. They use the blues for the sky, they use the greens for the ground, and then everything else is very art directed so that things stand out and create attention, things to what was that? And be able to kind of go, okay, and we're then pushing that person and then they're driving towards that thing. Because engagement isn't just about how the player engages, how the player is playing the game. It's about how the player is reacting to the people who are reacting to them. You're creating, the recursive loop of engagement, which is get one person in, have them play, and then have them interact with this person. And then that creates more engagement that then drives them. But you don't get what you used to get in a lot of multiplayer games. I think everybody of a particular age is going to understand what I say here, but I'll probably use a term. I used to refer to it as the CBCs, the cheating bloody computer. And it was always my reference to in racing games like Burnout or Metropolis Street Racer or Project Gotham Racing, that you're in first for 90% of the race. And OMG Turtles, we should develop a live service. Everyone else has got it wrong, but we'll get it right. Exactly. Contact the Chinese, get some funding. Ooh, you don't want to go to the Chinese for some funding at the moment. I think that news will pretty much be coming out soon. Like the word, the news stories earlier this week about the potential of Tencent stepping away funding from some of their studios. That's part of a kind of larger element. It's only now, I think, being something that news groups are talking about, but a lot of larger Chinese firms that they've got a lot of money and they've been trying to kind of seed and spend that money into investments into other companies. When you think of Tencent, obviously they own Riot, but they've also got investments in places like Techland, in so many studios out there, all around the world. But right now, one of the things that is occurring is that um, with the investment that they've done, the games that are coming together are progressing, but they're not progressing at a fast enough rate because the whole downfall of the Chinese economy needs its own stream. There's, yeah, China's economy isn't really going to have massive downfall, but that is, yeah, definitely another stream. But the kind of specifics for the games investment is that they've invested in studios. They've bought board positions or seats on the board for a lot of those companies, and the content's coming through. The idea was that they were investing so that obviously when the game comes out and it performs well, that they, in a sense, will also get a little bit of that kind of return on that investment. They spent this money. The money was then spent on the game. The game releases, does well, and then they make a nice little bit off the back end. But those things aren't occurring at the rate that they used to. A lot of games have been delayed, and because you're on the board for these businesses, if they're going, hey, our publisher's saying they're not going to give us any more money, everybody on the board, are you willing to invest more? And I think right now, with a lot of other companies around the world, some Chinese firms that have done that investment route are being asked impression and going, well, if you're not going to continue to invest in us, then why are you here? And they may not have belief, unfortunately, that that it's going to continue on, that it's going to be healthy, that there's going to be a good return. Apologies. So with that, the potential is, or the discussions have been reported. You know, I like to be proper. I'm not a journalist, but I would rather be more proper in what I'm saying. It has been reported from some outlets that the potential element is that Tencent may sell back their shareholding to the company and basically get out. But instead of asking for an increased value of what they put in, they may ask for what they put in just as a baseline value, no interest, or potentially sell at a loss to be clear of it, so that if there's any risk of the studio not hitting targets, not hitting expectations, perhaps maybe even breaching on a contract or potentially shutting down, that they're not dragged in. That is a pretty cynical kind of element. But China and a lot of the general, I'm hesitant to say protectionist, but they do care about the companies that they've built and invested and grown all of this time. They don't want to have risks of companies not being responsible or not releasing products ultimately falling on their laps. They want to invest in something that's going to deliver. So there is that hassle for them. It will be interesting to see where that lays out, because they have honestly a really healthy little portfolio of studios that they've invested in. And you'd hope that a lot of them would start kind of like delivering and making some returns. But I think we're going to see a lot of that money disappear. That's also one of those elements of how especially the risk of live service sits, is that it's believed at the moment that the best way to get ahead is to have a game which is always engaging and making revenue through the players. Get more money from the players every 3 months. If you can get that extra $15 every 3 months, then that's what's going to help you survive. But even at the best point, like, let's do some really simple math on this. So with okay, if we were to take Bungie as the example, with Marathon, it's like a $15 season pass or something. So we'll just do this roughly as a USD. They were selling the game at 40 USD. I would rather highball it than lowball it, because I generally believe like numbers are always generally a little higher than we always expect. So say 3 million copies. That is $120 million at $40 US each. Now, if we were to take those kind of terrible Steam numbers as a baseline, just even for the PC platform, so 10,000 on Steam, roughly on every day, you peak at about 25K. So let's give them the best case scenario, 25,000 daily active users on Steam throughout it over a month. And then let's add their biggest platform, PlayStation. Let's go 100,000 people there, and Xbox being 1/3 of PlayStation. So let's just add another 30,000. So we've got 155,000 players. Now, every 3 months, you're getting $15 each from these people, because they're the people who are playing all the time and they're paying for that season pass. every 3 months you're making $2.3 million. Now, obviously, there's cuts and everything else. I'm not going to jump into cuts and all of that sort of crap. So let's just divide that by 3. So every month you're making $775,000 without taking into addition the cuts, which generally across a lot of that, PlayStation, obviously, they wouldn't have a cut. They make all of it. But on Xbox, you'd be losing 30% there. On PC, you're losing... yeah, you're losing 30% there. Actually, is it that this Marathon has season passes? Season 2. Okay, so yeah, season 2 is now live. I'm just checking this live because it honestly does strike me. Okay, season 2 sponsored survival, Bungie rewards. I don't know if you actually buy seasons for the game. I will admit, okay, I may not know. I could be entirely wrong. Which is interesting. I thought that, yeah, I thought you would end up like buying seasons every month. But maybe you don't. So that would be a good thing, especially. Hold on. Perfect way to be able to find out is using this handy little Xbox here. Because there it is. Marathon. Oh yeah, in Australia, $59.95. Okay, so let's just have a look in the store. So there's Marathon the game. And then the add-ons for the game. Oh, there's okay, so there's actual there's a currency for it. So it's probably a thing where you buy the currency and then get the season through that. Okay. I might have that entirely wrong. That is strange. Well, okay. We take that example out, that kind of seasonal pass thing. I did not realize that. Well, we learn something new each day, live on the air. The kind of best case scenario for a lot of that does kind of fall to where you can keep building that from. Because a lot of that investment, a lot of that approach is about monetizing, having people play your game and monetizing them in an ongoing fashion. So they do have their equivalent of a deal, like a microtransaction currency. I think it was called Lux there. So you've got that. So people are buying skins or whatever it is. That's an ongoing element. So everything is built around trying to make sure that people keep engaging with it. I've always respected a live service game that doesn't build itself around the specific point of monetizing every entry point into the game. A live service game does best when you want to be back there, not because they're giving you rewards, but because you're engaged with what you're playing. One of the reasons I started the Dread playthrough of State of Decay 2 was because it is an absolutely fun game to play, and there is no additional monetization in it. But they continued to support the game and build it out because it was more important to have people play and build that into something. If they got more and more people. Like State of Decay 2 has a very niche audience. State of Decay 1 has an even smaller audience, but State of Decay fans were able to keep the game going from 2018 was when it was released. So 2018, and people are still playing it now in 2026. And we'll probably be playing all the way up until 2027 when it releases. But State of Decay 3 has the potential that audience is just going to keep. Do you think we're waiting for indie studios to have the ability to create live service games? Fall Guys was probably the closest, I guess. I think indies always have a fantastic viewpoint about how they twist the methodologies of gameplay to a simple format. Like you look at Destiny, it's a first-person shooter, but they're like, oh, there's all of these complex things. You can go on raids, you can do this, you can do that. Fall Guys, basically, it's a knockout the fucking video game. That's it. It's simple games where the idea is just the memeability of any of those moments where something can go completely your way, or you fall flat on your face, and you're basically watching your friends build. Like, it creates those moments that you send your friends go, oh my god, look at this. And you jump and you completely miss the grab on the ledge, and you just fucking face plant onto the concrete, and it's like you got knocked out. And as your character's dead body's sitting there, like 3 other bodies like bam, 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 fall on top of you. Those are the moments, and they come from indies who really just, I think they perfectly dial in on it, which is the simplest possible fun little gameplay element where the potential outcome always changes, but it can come from systemic potential that none of the games are exactly the same. You can jump on this, or the way that you affect things is the same, but when you throw so many other different elements into it, it then becomes chaos and wild abandon. Like, you either create a very structured system and work inside those rules and refine, where I think indie has had success in a live service game. Rocket League, because a live service can be a tournament style game, and they've done amazingly well. Fall Guys is a very very interpretive rule system that states survive the games. Only the first X amount of, like, there's 100 people here. The first game, only the top 70 will get through. In the next game, only the top 50 will get through. In the next game, the top 40 get through. And then in the final game, it's you 40 bastards racing to get that crown. Go. And the games, the first time you jump into any of the games, it's easy to learn in the sense of you stand back and watch everybody else. So you don't have to tutorialize. People are able to just pick it up, or they just throw themselves into it and be like, why the fuck did this break away from me? Oh, it didn't have a support underneath it. So I just jumped on like a massive pane of glass and it just shattered. Okay, I get it. And they're sitting there laughing at it. And then it creates the quick turnaround. That's how the quick turnaround works for smaller games where there's that intense little burst. But when it comes to like the shooters and everything else, Fortnite has nailed it down where they cut all of the faff. As soon as you're dead, it's like exit out, jump back in the queue. If you're playing in duos or squads, then it'll be like, well, you're going to have to wait for somebody to pick you up so you can sit here and wait, or you can bail out of your team, jump back into another squad. We'll put you with some randos. Who knows? The that cycle, indies understand how to quickly create the just one more game, because everything about what they're doing has to be about that, because they have to use that to get you to play the fucking game in the first time. They don't have the name of a GTA or an established IP or anything else to really jump behind. Why is it that a game that was as, I say this with affection if Miles Dompier ever watches this, but Ilphonics games in the past, haven't played any of the ones that are coming up, but in the past, whenever I've played them, they've just had this bit of jank or kind of like a roughness to them. I know that they're not the world's biggest studio and that you're creating these asymmetrical multiplayer games, and it doesn't have all of that. Clipping it, sending it to Miles, and I'm just gonna get like just get this message from him being like, I don't know who you are, but fuck you. Um, oh, that would be hilarious. But the Ilphonics games, when I've played them, haven't felt great to me, because they have that little bit of like jank that nothing really feels like it's perfectly lined up, that it's really tightly bound, because it also has to work inside that server system with X amount of other players and 2 killers and this and that. To refine and refine and refine down to that point can be tough, but it works beautifully when you're seeing other people playing it. It's just not my thing. But that works in its perfect little sense of, that's a game that involves more people and allows itself to take the time. If you place the challenge and let the challenge last as long as the kind of back and forth in it, it's there's an author, Matthew Riley, writes the Scarecrow series of books, the Jack West series of books, kind of writes techno thrillers, I think is the best way to call it. But a lot of his books have an element of this military force or this group of people versus this group of people who are also after them, plus this third group of assholes who's sticking their nose in on it. And then he also then has a monster or a animal or a creature or something else that then is a fourth clusterfuck of a situation to be thrown in there. And what, like, I actually went to a Brisbane Book Week thing where he was speaking, and I asked him about that and just went, why do you always have that additional element? Like, why is it that you feel like all of these threats aren't enough? You have to have another. And he went, because it creates an unexpected moment that can either help or hinder your heroes. And the battle between a hero and a villain can take as long as you want, because there's always that back and forth. But if you then, halfway through that back and forth, you throw a shark in the middle of that, then the back and forth is completely thrown for a loop. And then it means that what would be like a 10-page sequence now becomes 20 pages, because you've got a shark chomping at people. So you can then ratchet up tension and create it and balance it where there's back and forth. That's one of those things I see for the Ilphonic games, where they, as a independent studio, really dialed in. Like Dead by Daylight did a great job and still continues to do a great job in that asymmetrical multiplayer. But it's now become such a tried and true system that you've got every form of like Resident Evil. You got fucking Nicolas Cage in the game, for fuck's sake. You've got Pyramid Head, you've got Chucky, you've got Bruce Campbell from Ash versus the Evil Dead. you've got horror tropes and elements and everything, and all of these villains and all of these things that now people play that game where it is so well known. People know the meta. And I think that as soon as you are having a live service game where the meta um, is required, a lot of the time that's where you'll gain a passionate audience, but you'll lose the casuals, because all it takes is a couple of games where somebody goes, I'm trying to smack these idiots. Like, why, as the killer, I'm walking up behind this guy and swinging, but they're like bugging out and clipping and then jumping through a window, and I'm stuck on the outside here. What can I do? It's it that's how you kind of lose those people. Indies tend to be really great at just developing and building the the live service games in a way where they're like, the least amount of handbrakes or issues that people need to encounter to be able to understand the game and play it, the better off we're going to be. Like, even think about the simple things like not just Fall Guys, but Among Us is another one where it started really as kind of a flash game. And it was just the simple idea of, you go into the screen, you jump into the game, and it's going to tell you you're a survivor, fix the broken things on the ship, avoid the imposters, go. And then simple little games. As the imposter, you're told, kill everyone on the ship. Don't let them fix things. Like, kill them all before they fix the ship and get the fuck out. So your first game, you're going to be like, oh, well, I can't, if somebody sees me, then they're going to be able to, I saw this person kill this person. They're the imposter. You get voted out. They win. It creates a very quick and simple system. Indies are great at live service because they understand the least amount of roadblocks to understand and be able to get in and play absolute best thing possible. That's where they're always going to win. There will always be a place, I think, for the bigger live service games, the Destinies, the Division 2s, the Fortnites, the Minecrafts, all of that. Minecraft is a fantastic example of what is ultimately a very complex game when you really start diving into it, but it doesn't place the weight on you unless you choose it. But you don't get that option with Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone. It throws you in there as like, fucking sink or swim, scrub. And that probably is to its detriment, because the moment that you have a skill flaw that has to be hit, that's always going to be that little step that stops somebody from just jumping in or being like, oh, I'll give it a shot. If they don't have any experience in first person, third person shooters, that's obviously going to knock them out. Somebody trying Among Us or Fall Guys is going to be like, oh yeah, I know how to use the control. Oh, and jump, and oh, okay, I've just got to run through this maze, and oh, why the fuck is, and it creates an easy element of being able to engage and continue. Like, honestly, live service games are going to change in definition, I think, very soon. It's just, in a sense, my own gut feeling that people will understand where some live service games have really benefited, which is that if you try to monetize the audience as a live service, you are then beholden to making sure that they feel that they have their money's worth. And every season and every gameplay element and everything that you do and try to push towards is going to be a harder and harder thing to keep up with. I love them for trying it. Like there will always be a place for it. But you have so many live service games out there that instead focus on just going, hey, I think that, you know, take a State of Decay. Like best example, I love that game. State of Decay 2, like if Undead Labs was still supporting State of Decay 2, and I'm here playing it so many years later that they went, hey, we've got another expansion like Heartland. It's another like 10 or so hours of content, but there's another 2 maps. Here's another game mode. It's like $15. Like fuck me, sideways. Like they can have my $15. I'd even buy 2 copies because it'd be like, this is what I want. You are giving me more of what I want to engage with. But if you're trying that cycle every 3 months, it requires a whole lot of time, a whole lot of money, a whole lot of effort, and it requires the manpower. And that seems to be where one of those issues in gaming is. Live services fail because they're not making enough money to be able to fund and pay for the people to continue, you know, building that out. It's yeah. From Turtles, it's the monetization that killed a lot of them. Look at Forza Motorsport. Yeah, that is a tough one as well, because Forza Motorsport has had a very long and successful career prior to the most recent iteration of it. That it was always the simulator to go for, but they just kept. I don't know why. Why do you have a green name now? I have no idea. Is there any reason why you have? Um, nope. There is no reason for you to have a green name. Congratulations, you've got a green name. It might mean that, yeah, it might mean that you're the only person watching. So it's just like, look at this guy. He's very fancy for the turtles. Um, uh, like Forza, I think, also fell upon a weight of expectation that much like many games when they've had a bit too long away, when you're going to try for something big and bold, it can be a killer to to stand up to expectation, or to be part, or to fit anybody's expectation, because it's a tough world. It is a very tough world when everybody's like when everybody's focused on you and your your game and your element. You're fighting against your TikToks and your Twitters and your Discords and your social engagement, or even just the ability to sit down and watch TV at home. Even the very platforms I'm speaking on right now, YouTube and Twitch, are the very things that take away people's attention from playing video games. So it it can be a tough one. That monetization is required, but it I don't know. I'll leave it on this note. I'm going to be very interested to um hear what Matthew Ball says when he comes back from his week or 10 days away that he has with his uh I think he said during the game, I was listening to that game business interview he did with Christopher Dring at E3, and he said there was originally a conflict that was going to occur, and Christopher Dring kind of joked and went, "Little did we know that it would be that the conflict is that you're working for Xbox now," and he actually cleared it up and went, "Actually, no, I when we talked about that in February, I I hadn't like Asher hadn't started at Xbox. I hadn't been hired. We'd had no discussions. It was actually that around this time of the year, I go away with my with my wife and in-laws, or yeah, I go away with them for like 10 days to relax, and that was going to be so close to this. I didn't know if I'd make it, and then and then this comes back. So I think it will be interesting to see how a lot of communication will occur, because I think Xbox understands the the risks of abandoning audiences. Audiences and communities behind games can help things survive well past a period of time that a lot of people don't expect. Like, did if State of Decay 2 didn't have its audience, didn't have this passionate community behind it, would it have had such a big groundswell with the additional content that they've done since E3, announcing the beta, having Philip Holt sit down, do the interview with Sunny Games, having Brian Menard show that period of like 75 minutes of gameplay? Those things have helped catch into the attention, and that keeps it in people's minds. I will be very interested when he gets back. Regardless of the like, as anybody would probably remind me of, oh, there's, oh, GTA pre-orders start tomorrow. Oh, that will be very interesting. Um, I'm still not of the opinion that I will get GTA 6. I played. Here's a fun thing. GTA 6, oh, sorry, GTA 3 came out on PC in 2002, and it was around my birthday. I had flown down to Sydney to see a friend and to stay with him. First time I'd visited Sydney, and during that period of time, GTA 3 came out on PC. Now, this was the version of the game that had gotten an initial it had gotten an initial release under our MA15 plus rating, which in 2002, MA15 plus was the highest rating a game could be. If it was rated higher than that, it would fall into a restricted game and would not be available for sale. There was a period of 4 days where GTA 3 went on sale, and then the media caught wind of it and absolutely shat their pants. So then GTA 3 was pulled off shelves, and it was given a restricted rating in Australia, and the copies of that game were then sent back to Take Two, or it was sent back to Take Two, and were taken back to the warehouse. They then had to make brand new copies that would stop any of the interactions with the prostitutes in the back of the car. And that was the only thing they had to remove. So they did that, printed out a brand new gold master. They printed out the games, and then the game came out and it was rated MA as an official rating. So from there, I bought it when it came out, because we were like, my friend who I was down there to see, like, we went past an EB Games. I'm like, oh shit, it's out. I'll grab it while I'm here. I had no intention. I wasn't playing it while I was in Sydney. I was there to visit him and go do stuff. So I get back to Brisbane a week later, and my sister's like, didn't you see that they like pulled that off the shelves? And I'm like, oh, well, this is the unrestricted version of the game. So we had that and played it. OMG Turtles, I still predict, as I did a year ago when you streamed, that GTA will not be as successful as everyone expects. I believe you are right. And I'm certainly not going to go against that, because I think the honest fact will be, it has been so long since GTA has actually been a touchstone that there will be, I think if GTA is going to hit really big numbers, like the numbers that people are expecting in those first couple of days. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the first couple of days, it's going to sell plenty million copies. That is what 85 or 83 whatever million PlayStation 5s out there that are sold, like just counting sell through, not sell in. Probably 83, 85 million consoles. Xboxes 30, 35, 40, who the fuck knows? All of those people are going to be able to well, just, you know, so even if you were to go, people who have a PlayStation don't have an Xbox, you've got a potential market there of 110 million. I would not be surprised if the first few months it's like it hits really hard, couple of million sold in the first few days. First week 5, second week maybe 8, third week 10. But I think once that initial purchase run through has occurred, it's not going to have the Christmas, because to a degree, the younger audiences who, when GTA 5 came out, GTA 5 was, you know, like GTA 4 and GTA 5 just had these long, slow burn throughs where, you know, it was waiting for it to then become that continuous roll through. GTA 5 also has been 3 different versions, because I think there's the Xbox One, PS4. There's the Xbox Series and PS5, and then there's the enhanced Xbox One, PS5. So 3 different versions of the game. And then you've got and here's the big thing. Why does GTA 5 continue to sit on the top of the sales charts every fucking month? Here's how it is. It is cheaper to buy a copy of GTA 5 with a shark card, because you get that shark card at a discount, instead of like the biggest shark card being $149. You can get the shark card for $149, or you can get the shark card and a copy of GTA 5 for $15 less. So $135, and you get a copy of the game with it. That counts as a copy sold. Doesn't matter if you own the game or not. So that's just that element. That's how that works. But you're not going to be able to do that with GTA 6. Because if you try that when people don't already own the game, and you basically sell people the microtransaction currency, there's the potential that you're going to undervalue what that game is really worth when it comes to a PC release later. You're going to have to be full whack on GTA 6 for quite a few years until you've hit an absolute saturation point. So, yeah, I think that probably by the start of December, you'll see it kind of like tap out on initial kind of big sales rush. You'll probably have a little spike in sales in the post-Christmas. Obviously, discounting sales, Boxing Day sales, as we refer to them here in Australia, New Year's potential, like cash money. And then a lot of those people who buy it in November when it releases will have finished the single player game by December. And then they're going to get back into their backlog. The people who bought it and fall off of it are going to go back to the games that they care about. The people who buy it or get it for Christmas are going to play it the week or two in December, maybe the week into January. And unless the online is really compelling, and especially because it's going to be a tough thing. I don't know if many people remember how bad GTA Online was when it launched. It took months for them to really iron out all of the bugs. So there's the potential that GTA Online won't be good until February. So are people going to just keep playing the single player game? Not really. They'll just continue on and go back to the backlog, go back into any of their other titles. Because just because it isn't GTA doesn't mean that they have to leave it to the offside. But here's your issue. You're getting into February, you're falling into Fable territory. You're going to have an Xbox developer direct probably at the end of January, maybe start of February. You're going to be seeing things like Clockwork Revolution, State of Decay 3, God, what else? By that point, they've already got Gears announced. They've already got Halo. So, you could have another surprise game or a third-party title be part of that. And then you're starting the cycle. From OMG Turtles, the only thing I can think of is 2K paying influencers to play the game post-launch months to keep interest up. I think that's a pretty fucking likely scenario, honestly, because as long as it's out there, as long as people see it, there will always be the people who are like, oh, I didn't know. Maybe I'll go get that. And the only risk will be, even with influencers, is that it does have its element that an influencer can only do so much. If you want to really see somebody who works hard at what they do, it's watching the people who play the same game again and again and again. So, like people who they're like in year 8 or 9 of Stardew Valley, or they've got a Minecraft Realm server that they've been playing in for years. When you've got a game where there's that sort of creativity and element that you can really engage with, you've always got content. But GTA, it's an RP. RP is going to be the thing that kind of gives it those legs. And that's also the RP servers is what made GTA 5 relevant since about 2018, 2019. But we'll see. I think Rockstar actually bought that company, didn't they? Or they worked with them to create stuff. So there is the potential that, maybe that will be that'll be their thing. That online will be like, you can role play your own server, jump into these servers and be an ambulance worker, be a truck driver, be a this, be a that. But yeah, it will cost $80. So $80, when you're saying $80, I think you're saying like 80 quid. Or $80 US. I think there's a likelihood of that. $80 US. Yeah, so I would honestly say I'm not going to be shocked. Oh, okay. And in the Discord chat, they just announced it. So $80 for, and the Ultimate Edition at 100 US. Interesting. Thank you very much for posting that as well, Turtles. It just came up in the Discord for me to see there as well. That does not shock me. Remember, like Mario Kart World for the Switch 2 was $80. So was Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think. So yeah, it absolutely makes sense. Well, it will be very interesting to see how they go, because some people will balk at that, but as long as they're happy, I suppose that's the way to do it. Although it is now hitting just about 8:30 p.m. here in the well, as you can see, it's nighttime outside. I was going to say the sunny land of Oz, but we're currently at a lack of sunlight. You get it when it's 60% off. Well, I don't know if I'm even going to play it when it gets to 60% off, but it will definitely be interesting to see. I definitely know my sister's going to play it. She absolutely loves those games. But seeing as it is 8:30, we're going to be calling it there for the night. So, in a surprising element, there were actually quite a few people who stuck their head in and then disappeared without saying anything, which is perfectly all right. But thank you to the people who kind of stuck their head in there, even if only for, I think it was a period of like 2 minutes. Good for them. Thank you very much for dropping by. I appreciate the chatting with turtles, as I always do. At some point, we're gonna have to just do this where, you know, um, once child is of less sitting in arms rage. Yeah, get you on here. We'll natter back and forth. But we're gonna call it there. So thank you everybody who stuck their head in. Thank you to Turtles. And catch you on the Friday night. See what's happening on there.